Welcome back. The top story we're currently tracking. Counting of votes for 3 Lok Sabha and 29 assembly seats across 13 states and the Union Territory of Dadra and Nagar Haveli is currently underway. The Congress has won 3 assembly seats in Himachal Pradesh. In the Lok Sabha seat of Mandi in Himachal Pradesh, Pratibha Singh, the wife of late Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh, has pulled ahead after trailing the BJP's Kargil war hero, Brigadier Kushal Thakur. In Dadra and Nagar Haveli, the Shiv Sena is ahead, and of the 5 seats in Assam, the BJP is gaining in all 3 seats where it fielded candidates. In Rajasthan, the Congress has won 1 seat and is leading in the other seat, so gaining 1, and the Trinamool Congress is ahead in all 4 seats in West Bengal. Meanwhile, in Madhya Pradesh, the BJP is leading the way. Let's switch our focus to Himachal Pradesh for the time being, where the Congress has won the 3 assembly seats, Fatehpur, Jubbal Kotkai and Arki. These by-polls were viewed as a litmus test for the BJP government, led by Chief Minister Jairam Thakur, particularly since the state will hold full assembly elections next year. The BJP mounted a high-profile election campaign over the past weeks, with the Chief Minister and Union Minister Anurag Thakur among those speaking at its rallies and events. My colleague Mohammad Ghazali joins us with the latest update. Ghazali, let's look at Himachal Pradesh first. What can you share with us at the moment?
See, right now, as per the Election Commission's website, Congress has certainly swept the Vidhan Sabha seats, the 3 Vidhan Sabha seats, as you mentioned, Arki, Fatehpur and Jubbal Kotkai, and these all seats has been won by Congress candidate. As far as Mandi Lok Sabha seat is concerned, which went to by-poll as well, Pratibha Singh has claimed that she has won the seat. Local reports are also coming so, but Election Commission's website has not updated the data yet. So if we go by the reports from the local sources there from Himachal Pradesh, all the 4 seats have gone to Congress. Now, what will be its impact? Certainly, as Himachal is going to polls a full assembly elections in next year, so it will give a sort of a boost for Congress. We can debate, or it is debatable, that who should take the credit, because no central leadership was involved in the campaign there. Not many senior leaders from Delhi had campaigned in Himachal Pradesh for the Congress, but yet leaders like Bhupendra Singh Hooda, Anand Sharma, they all were there. As far as BJP is concerned, why it is a shock for them? Because Himachal Pradesh is under BJP rule. CM Jairam Thakur comes from Mandi district, and it will be certainly, it was seen to be his litmus test, because he has been ruling the state for the last 4 years, and it will be seen, or the Congress will certainly project it to be seen as a referendum or a decision on his governance in the last 4.5 years. So in some sense, certainly Congress will get a boost, and in many sense we see that when a party wins one state, it has chances of having a ripple effect in the neighboring states. Punjab goes to polls next year in January and February, so you may also see some effect, some revival of party fortunes in neighboring states as well. But certainly a big shock for BJP, as you mentioned, that Anurag Thakur, one of the union ministers, was also campaigning in the state. And what is spoiled for Congress, for the BJP, what was the spoiler? That on many seats there were internal rivalries, the choice of candidates, and rebellion from Congress, from BJP workers was reported from many of the seats which went to by-polls in Himachal Pradesh. Coming to Haryana, another northern state, as both the states have this commonality, that both are ruled by BJP. In Haryana as well, the Elnabad Assembly constituency, which was earlier represented by INLD's Abhay Chautala, he had resigned earlier this year in support of farmers against the farm laws, again contested the by-polls, and he has also won the seat. The Congress candidate, to be noted, is that he has lost his deposit in Elnabad Assembly constituency. Similarly, in Himachal, one of the seats, BJP candidate had lost her deposit. So in some sense, if we talk about Haryana and Punjab have become the nerve center of farm agitation. Sirsa district, where this assembly constituency is located, is also a hub of Punjabi population. The farmers come from that district as well, and many farm union leaders have been campaigning against the BJP in the region, and they had openly hinted that they will back Abhay Chautala. So in some sense, Mr. Chautala also claimed that it's a victory for the farmers. So Haryana has seen a lot of farmers agitation, a lot of clashes between farmers and the police or the state government here. So even unions will claim claim that it is a referendum on farm laws, or their agitation against farm laws will get a flip, will get a boost with the victory of Mr. Chautala in Allahabad Assembly seat.
Right, thank you so much, Ghazali. We will be tracking all the details for Himachal Pradesh and Haryana with you very closely. Meanwhile, let's switch tracks to Rajasthan, where Harsha Kumari Singh is reporting from the ground with the latest details. Harsha, let's go straight to you. What's the latest from Battleground Rajasthan? Some sound sleep in store for Ashok Gehlot tonight?
Well, yes, a clear win in Dharyavad, and they are also leading very convincingly in Vallabhnagar. So we're expecting that election to be announced very soon now. Now, you know, interestingly, Dharyavad was with the BJP. The MLA died, unfortunately, due to COVID, and the BJP decided not to give it to his family, but instead to choose an organization person. So they went with Khet Singh, who's actually someone who was heading the Janjati Morcha of the BJP there, working among the tribals. But it didn't pay off because organizational people don't necessarily make charismatic politicians or popular leaders. Right. So obviously that gamble has not paid off, and the Congress has won, in fact, quite convincingly with a huge margin, 18,000 votes. They've got more than 39% of the votes that were polled. So that's pretty good for them in the tribal area, because remember, tribal votes count. Also in Vallabhnagar, the Congress has again done very well, and interestingly, the person who's come second is a BJP rebel, Randhir Singh Bhinder. He's come second, and the BJP itself, the official candidate, has come fourth. So, you know, the polls are also a referendum in one sense on the status of the party in Rajasthan. So the BJP in Rajasthan is leaderless in one sense. They lack a cohesive leadership. They're trying to sideline Vasundhara Raje. But you know, how sensible is that? One really doesn't know, because when she came to Jodhpur, huge crowds turned up to meet her just a week back. But she's been caught up with personal reasons, and so has not been seen campaigning very actively. And obviously the fact that there is no cohesive leadership phase in the BJP, it could be one reason. Secondly, for Ashok Gehlot really to win these two by-elections is very important, because remember, after these by-elections, he's likely to go in for a cabinet expansion, especially to accommodate the rebels. Sachin Pilot's camp, his loyalists have been asking for a long time that they be accommodated in the governments. So that will have to be done. But after these by-elections, it definitely appears that Ashok Gehlot will have more leverage. He will be stronger in the party in Rajasthan, and perhaps it will really be his decisions. He will be able to sort of take the decisions, you know, in his cabinet expansion. So, you know, in that sense, it's definitely round one to Ashok Gehlot now.
Round one to Ashok Gehlot, indeed. Thank you so much, Harsha. We will be tracking all the details with you as far as Rajasthan results are concerned. Meanwhile, let's switch tracks quickly to West Bengal, where Saugata Roy from the TMC has just spoken as the Trinamool Congress is on the verge of an easy victory in all 4 seats in Bengal. Let's listen in.
अच्छा से चुनाव लड़े, अच्छा से जीते, और बीजेपी जितना पीछे जाएगा वो लोकतंत्र के लिए भला होगा। लोग बहुत नाराज हैं बीजेपी पर, मोदी पर, उनको सरकार पर, इसी का प्रभाव दिखाई देता है। कुछ नहीं होगा। हमारा पार्टी का निर्देश है पोस्टल बैलेंस नहीं होना चाहिए।
And Moni Deepa Banerjee joining us from Kolkata with the latest. Moni, the Trinamool Congress on the verge of an easy victory in all 4 seats in Bengal?
Well, so far I know that all 4 seat results have been declared, and yes, indeed, it's 4 on 4 for the Trinamool Congress, 100% result, which must make the Trinamool Congress very, very pleased indeed. Mamata Banerjee has already tweeted, conveying her greetings to the victorious candidates, and she has also called it the people's victory. Abhishek Banerjee's tweet has tongue in the cheek firmly. He wishes the BJP Happy Diwali and says this will truly be a cracker-free which he meant pollution-free, perhaps Diwali here in Bengal. So yes, Trinamool Congress in celebration mode already across the 4 constituencies. The BJP complaining that there is no atmosphere for voting in Bengal. And why are they saying that? Because of the huge margins by which the Trinamool has won. For instance, at Dinhata, which, by the way, was the assembly constituency of the current BJP Central Minister of State for Home, Nishit Pramanik. Nishit Pramanik had won there in April, but that seat is now gone to the Trinamool Congress, and by a whopping 1.63 lakh margin of votes. Now that for an assembly election is huge. Also equally huge is the margin at Goshaba, 1.43 lakh vote margin in Goshaba. But that was the Trinamool seat in the last elections. It has won it again, and with a huge margin. What is significant is, of course, the loss of these 2 seats for the BJP means that the BJP's tally of 77 MLAs in Bengal is now down to the round figure of 70. 5 other BJP MLAs have already crossed back to the Trinamool Congress. They have effected a ghar wapasi, and the BJP's resounding defeat today is again raising the question, will we see more, former Trinamool leaders, or even, originally BJP leaders, like for instance Babul Supriyo, will they now be making a stronger beeline for the Trinamool Congress? For the Trinamool in expansion mode at the moment, Mamata Banerjee in Goa, couple of days ago, Abhishek Banerjee in Tripura a few days ago. For them, nothing could be better. A shot in the arm, of course. The BJP claiming that free and fair elections are hard to hold in Bengal, but there was no complaint of rigging, no complaint of booth capturing, so we are not sure what BJP is talking about. A moment, in which the Trinamool, of course, is reveling and enjoying every moment. 4 on 4 for the Trinamool Congress.
A perfect score. Thank you so much, Manideepa, for joining us with those details. Meanwhile, to provide better insight into the bi-poll trends and contextualize the wins and losses, we're joined by Neerja Chaudhary, senior journalist, as well as Manisha Priyam, a political analyst and researcher, and senior journalist Javed Ansari. I'd like to start with Manisha first. Manisha Priyam, I was speaking to senior journalist Aarti Jayarat this afternoon, and she made a crucial point. Strong local leaders make a huge difference in an election. For example, as Manideepa was just telling us, TMC's total sweep today in Bengal. What are your first thoughts?
So my first thoughts would echo exactly what you said, that in India, boundaries of states remain sacrosanct. The national sovereignty has to be understood emanating within state boundaries. Remember always, the prachar notwithstanding, the political image notwithstanding, Narendra Modi's claim to the prime ministership has also been as an effective chief minister of Gujarat. Prior to that, there was Chandrababu Naidu. So state politics remains the very effective way in which we understand the everyday politics in India. And you can see that in the Trinamool Congress, there is an attempt to, get the local votes, the local sentiments, the linguistic nationalism, the idea of identity. All of this is being spearheaded by the local campaigning. Now, what you also need to understand is that in this victory, the Dinhata seat especially, very, very critical for the Trinamool Congress. Nishit Pramanik having been taken over by the BJP, having been given the status of a serving home minister for this country in that area. These are scheduled tribe reserved seats also in the larger parliamentary constituency. In the Kuch Bihar area, the BJP has made a headway. And you can see that it's here, there's a taking back. So there is an active fight. There is a notion of a perennial election that's happening in West Bengal. And whatever had been taken away by the BJP, Mamata Banerjee took it back in the assembly elections. Right. Whatever the BJP had taken in the assembly elections, Mamata Banerjee is taking it back. In Himachal, two very important lessons. Look, Anurag Singh Thakur, Prime Minister Modi was cultivating Anurag as his own young man, the young face around him, no punishments for ever having spoken those lines the infamous lines he spoke in the Delhi Assembly elections. He continues to be the Prime Minister's favorite boy. In Himachal Pradesh, you can see the local leadership, however, Veerbhadra Singh's wife giving a very important challenge back. In Haryana, you similarly see there is a faceless BJP and there is the family that comes back. And however much Dushyant may be in a relationship with the BJP government there, the votes are slipping away. Rajasthan similarly, notwithstanding the fights between Gehlot and Sachin Pilot, you can say that it's the Congress that's ruling the roost. However, the most important lesson is that in the Northeast, I think the fragmentation and slipping away of the Congress, the sole beneficiary has been the BJP. That's a first ever, and therefore it's not that the BJP is not making grounds. The BJP didn't have its own leadership there through alliances, through cultivating carefully. So one will need to see that Prime Minister Modi's call out for Look East policy continues to yield benefits and dividends for the BJP, its strongest bastion coming in there. So on both flanks, I would say that in the Kashmir front, the hill politics, the Himalaya politics being led by the BJP in one particular format. In the eastern corridor of the Himalayas, however, it is the BJP saffron which is flying ahead with strong local coalitions, but their agenda having been accepted. So on two sides of the Himalayas, you can see the BJP really leading the political fight all the way in many different formats and patterns. So very active, everyday electioneering, local seems dominant, state leaderships and state level attitudes towards political issues remain very, very important.
Right, and strong leaders, strong local leaders definitely making a huge difference. Neeta Chaudhary, I just want to bring you in. Let's switch our focus to Rajasthan. Now, before the polls, Vallabhnagar was held by Congress and Dharwad by the BJP. Your first thoughts on what you think seems to have worked for the Congress and what could the BJP have done better to clock in a better performance?
Look, certainly that is the case, and the Congress also managing to hold on. Of course, the party in power does do better in by-poll elections. So when you get an upset in that, that's what time to take note. So I think Rajasthan is not so unexpected. What I find is very interesting, which is a trend for the future, is the Himachal, Haryana, where the Congress is picking up. And I think we will probably see this happen in Uttarakhand, though the by-polls are not there, in the coming elections next year. But overall, the point that you're making, I think we are now living in an India where caste and community does matter, but who is the helmsman matters even most. Because you have a Mamata Banerjee, people repose their confidence in her. Clear leadership, fighting leadership. You have a Himanta Biswa Sharma, people repose their confidence in him. Assam, very good. Northeast, very good for the BJP. No matter what the problems the party face, dissatisfaction, they've managed to overcome it. There is a leadership that creates confidence in the people. Where that leadership is missing, there is going to be problem, and we are seeing that. So it is a very interesting, nationally, Narendra Modi, for all the dissatisfaction against BJP, he's still holding his own. He's holding his ground. So I think this is something state level leaderships, of course, will have to contend with, will have to factor in a clear leader at their, leading the fight. Now, will UP, I'm just extrapolating into the future.
Right.
Akhilesh Yadav, a clear leader, will he be able to manage to mount a challenge to Aditya Yogi Nath, where Priyanka Gandhi Vadra is being seen with great interest, with new eyes? Difficult because they don't have the organization. But, overall, what is the message coming through these elections? Forget the micro thing. The micro factors will make a difference. But I will say clear leadership, whether it's at the state level or it is at the national level. It's a very, at the state level, opposition parties may win, not win, depending on how they fight. But a very important message these by-polls have for national election for the opposition parties. They've got to get their act together on who will be the leader, if at all. If they cannot surmount that for 24, then we go on in that old vein, parties getting together. But it's a very important message that's coming through these by-polls. It's not just little elections that have been held.
Right, clear leadership is key, as you've just pointed out. Javed Ansari also joins us on the phone line. Javed Ansari, let's look at Himachal Pradesh, for instance. Anurag Thakur was in Himachal Pradesh to campaign for the by-polls. But countering the Congress candidate, Mr. Thakur had said people want a Majboot candidate as their MP, not a Majboor candidate. You think Mr. Thakur's words have been sort of unable to muster up the magic for the BJP on polling day?
Look, Mr. Thakur is young and he holds promise for the future. But there are some things he needs to learn. And one of them is that it's one thing to give good sound bites and to enthuse your voters, it's to enthuse your cadres. It's quite another to translate them into votes. He's young and he will learn with experience that you need to think twice before you speak. There's no point in shooting off your mouth and then regretting it. He's now developing a reputation of one who thinks later and talks first. And this is not good for a leader of the future. For the Congress, after a long time, there is something to cheer about, and there is promise for the future. The way they've performed in Rajasthan and in Himachal Pradesh, and this just goes to show that when they get their act together, they can put it past the BJP. Whether they will be able to do this at the national level, it's difficult. In Rajasthan, a united Congress is still good enough to give a fight. Although, I would also go along with what Neja ji says, that conventionally, it's usually the party in power that wins by-elections. So therefore, I'm not very surprised. Here, you need to give some credit to Vijay Makkan as well, that he's managed to at least make Gehlot and Sachin Pilot develop some kind of a working relationship, that at the time of elections at least, both of them put their shoulder to the wheel. But again, the big question is, can all this translate into action at the central level? The jury is still out. It doesn't look likely, because right now the opposition seems more willing to fight amongst itself than to be able to put up a united front against the BJP. So till that happens, you can cheer. There may be something to cheer about where the states are concerned, but at the national level, the picture is not likely to change till the opposition gets together and is able to put up a one-to-one fight at least over 100 seats, which at the moment seems unlikely.
Right. Now that we're talking about Himachal Pradesh, I just want to quickly ask Neja ji, in the Lok Sabha seat of Mandi, Pratibha Singh, the wife of late Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh, has pulled ahead after trailing BJP's Kargil war hero, Brigadier Kushal Thakur. Now, ma'am, do you think Veerbhadra Singh's murky past as far as his corruption allegations are concerned have, in a sense, been pushed under the carpet?
Well, that's the most interesting, that she should, after trailing, she goes ahead. And against a Kargil war hero, given the nationalist sentiment that had prevailed. And despite, as you say, the charges of corruption, that to me only says the kind of anger that there is. Why the people are turning to the Congress. It shows not just mere dissatisfaction, it shows more than that. And I think these smaller states, as I said, Haryana, Himachal and Uttarakhand also very critical. It is indicative of a lot of resentment brewing against the BJP. The BJP will have to take note of it. The BJP will have to put correctives into place, but also the BJP may have to stoop to conquer. Many of its allies have felt they've been given the short shrift. The BJP may have to look again at its allies' policy.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us and sharing your perspectives and for providing us insight into these bypolls. Just to recap for our viewers tuning in, the BJP, currently dominating the northeast, is facing setback in 2 northern states it rules, Himachal Pradesh and Haryana, in these bypolls for 29 assembly and 3 Lok Sabha seats. Congress, meanwhile, has won 3 assembly seats in Himachal and is ahead in the race for Mandi.